Thank you everyone for joining us today. Just before we get started, I have a few quick points to go over. Please stay muted and keep your camera off until you're invited to speak. To ask a question or share a comment, please use the raise hand feature. And I'll just bring up a screen that shows how to access that raise hand feature. On your computer, if you're using your computer using the Teams desktop or web app, you can select the show reactions icon. It's a face with a hand next to it at the top of the screen. Then on the menu that appears, click the raise hand icon. Or on the Teams mobile app, you can click the three dots at the bottom of your screen. And on the menu that appears there, you can tap the raise hand icon. If you're joining us by phone, you can dial *5 to raise and lower your hand, and *6 is to mute and unmute. Please remember to lower your hand after you've shared a comment or question. We will try to call on people to share their questions or comments in the order that hands have been raised. And we ask that you please keep your questions or comments to 2 minutes or less. You can also ask a question in the chat window. We'll be monitoring the chat window and read questions if time allows. To turn on live captions during the meeting, click the three dots icon at the top of your screen for people who are on a computer, or at the bottom of your screen if you're joining by the Teams app on a smartphone, and then select turn on live captions if you'd like live captions during the meeting. Common questions and answers are posted on the city's community engagement hub at connectptbo.ca/arena and aquatics complex. And just one final note, this meeting is being recorded. The recording of the presentation will be posted at connectptbo.ca/arena and aquatics complex. And with that, I'll invite Phil with Perkins & Will to take over.
Thank you, Brendan. Maybe we go to the next slide. So my name is Phil Fennick. I'm a principal architect with Perkins & Will Architects, and I'll introduce the entire team in a moment. But right now, I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot of the agenda. We'll have some opening remarks from Sheldon, and then introduction of the teams. And we're going to talk to you about the design principles and program of the Arena and Aquatics complex. We're going to walk you through the site plan and how it fits into the existing Morrow Park. Then we're going to take you through the updates on the building design and how we have responded to the comments we received during the engagement session about this time last year. Then we're going to open it up for some questions and some chat, online chat. And then we're going to summarize with tips on how to keep in touch as the project moves forward. Just as Brendan said, the project information, oh, that's fine. Introductions. Sheldon, would you want to say any opening remarks before we go into the introductions?
No, I just wanted to welcome everyone here today. My name is Sheldon Laidman. I'm the Commissioner of Community Services and Arenas and Recreation as part of my portfolio of responsibilities here. With me tonight are a number of city staff, including Jillian Barnes, who's the project manager for the project, and Sue Warrington, who's the arena manager. I would also like to acknowledge that a number of councillors are on the call listening tonight. That would include Councillor Gary Baldwin, Councillor Kim Zippel, and Councillor Leslie Parnell as well. So I'll turn it back over to you, Phil.
Thank you, Sheldon. And just to introduce the Perkins & Will team, joining me today is Christina Grimes, who's the design architect and project manager, and Rafaela Kurlas, who is the project architect. Next slide. So a little bit about us. We are the design team for the Arena and Aquatics Complex, and we have a vast experience in the design of community facilities throughout Ontario and beyond. We've also been working in the Peterborough area for over 15-20 years. We're the designers of the Peterborough Sports and Wellness Centre and the Trent Athletic Centre. We've completed many projects in the Southern Ontario area in Newmarket, Markham, Ottawa, Toronto, Richmond Hill, Richard Stouffville, Mississauga, of a variety of combinations of arenas and community centers. Next slide. And joining us earlier this year is Ball Construction. Ball was selected amongst 3 others to become our construction manager for the complex. They are the builders of many arenas and recreation centers in Southern Ontario, and they're brought on board to help us in the costing process and in the design review to make sure it's constructible and efficient and practical. And then they will tender our documents to different trades and manage the construction going forward. And their projects include the Wellesley Township Recreation Center, projects in Pelham, West Lincoln, Milton, Belleville, Kitchener, and Smithville. Next slide. Just to revisit the goals and objectives of the project. This project came about due to the need for more ice time, but it also is to transform the perception of the arena into a multi-use space. Without sacrificing the quality of the ice of the game, the goal is to engage a broader range of users and improve the quality of the venue. So this first phase includes the arena, but in order to enhance and support this vision, we've also now included a branch library into this first phase, and that was added to the program. The total key goals of the project is to provide program flexibility, to provide operational and energy efficiency, ensure access to all, and ensure opportunities for future growth. And it's important to note when looking at the design, what type of level that the rinks are geared for. The Phase 1 twin pad arena and training spaces are sized to host league use and regional tournaments. They operate together to ensure the participant has access to top quality spaces for preparation, training, and competing. Next slide.
So this graphic depicts the project timeline. And beginning at the right, you can see that the concept design for the arena kicked off last year in February 2021. Our first community consultation was held in April 2021, and official approval was given by council for the Morrow Park site in July. Once approval was given, we entered the next phase of the design where we continue to develop and build upon the initial concept. Throughout this phase, we have had a couple of exciting milestones, the onboarding of Ball Construction as construction manager and the approval of the new library branch in January. We feel now is a good time for us to be providing the community on a project update, as we will be submitting to the city soon for site plan approval. And we're looking to begin Phase 1 construction in August of this year, targeting a completion in fall 2024. And lastly, the inclusion of the Phase 2 Aquatic Center at Morrow Park has been accepted by council, however, not yet approved to proceed for design and construction. We will, however, be including Phase 2 in our site plan approval application for city review. Next slide. So as part of our update for you today, we have 4 main objectives. We want to confirm the feedback we received at our April 2021 consultation, provide you with an update on both the site plan and building floor plans, and through that design update, demonstrate to you that we have heard and responded to your previous comments. And lastly, we encourage everyone to continue providing the team with input through the www.connectpeterborough.ca portal. Next slide. So the next 4 slides are dedicated to revisiting the feedback received at our last community consultation. 4 questions were asked to those attending, and up on the screen are the results. So question 1 asked attendees to rank what they felt would be the measures for success of the new arena complex. The top 3 most popular responses were high participation in use, prioritizing welcoming inclusive spaces, and striving for higher green, sustainable development standards. In response, in the last year, as design for the facility has evolved, the team has made no compromises on the provided programs and their functional layout. Open and transparent public spaces have been prioritized, and to broaden the inclusivity of the complex, the library branch was added to enhance the programmatic offerings. And with respect to sustainability, we have a robust thermal envelope and paired with an efficient mechanical system that help the project achieve ambitious energy reduction targets. All materials used in this facility will be vetted to ensure it has a healthy air quality and a low embodied carbon footprint. Next slide. So question 2 targeted the RENA program, asking what planning priorities were most important. And the most popular responses were top quality ice and rink design, comfortable and spacious public spaces, and layout of change rooms and support spaces. So in response, over the last year, there have been no compromises to the rink refrigeration systems, and both rinks have been designed to sledge hockey standards. We have revisited the design of the change rooms to increase their size for optimal use. Dry land training space has remained up on level 2 next to our walking track, and the level 1 and level 2 central lobby spaces have been located next to the arena entries to ensure a comfortable arrival and departure after rink use. Next slide.
In terms of the park planning priorities, we heard that creating a new activities and uses at Morrow Park was the first priority. To preserve green space was the second priority, and to demonstrate a greener and sustainable landscape was third, followed by improving the urban landscape along Lansdowne and ease of access by vehicle, cycling, walking, and transit. In response, our park program remains flexible and can accommodate future uses, allowing the park to grow and change. We've increased the available green space adjacent to the area. Our landscape and plant selection is following LEED Gold requirements in terms of drought resistance, low carbon intensity. Our development along Lansdowne includes a multi-use trail, and we've taken measures to make sure that multiple modes of travel are accommodated to the site. Slide. We presented a few exterior design sketches in the first community consultation. We asked what would be the community's priorities. We heard to demonstrate a greener sustainable response was first, to respect surrounding neighborhood context was second, and to reflect the history of the site and identity of Peterborough was third. So in response, to demonstrate a greener sustainable response, we've created a more solid wall and less windows to reduce energy loss. The walls and the roof that we have will have deeper insulation, more than the code minimums. In terms of responding to the surrounding neighborhood, the design has a civic scale that's set by the roof, but underneath that roof, we've broken down the building mass into smaller components to reflect the size of buildings along and across the road on Lansdowne. And then to round out our pavilions in color, recall the exhibition type architecture, which responds to priority 4. Our well-located windows and entries provide visibility to interiors from all points of view, which respond to the transparency of item 5. And planning has become even more efficient and functional, which responds to item 6. Thank you. Next slide. Talk a little bit about design principles and program, just to set the stage for what you're going to see in terms of the actual drawings. Next slide. The design vision is to create a new civic hub by bringing recreation and learning programs to Morrow Park, to build upon Morrow Park's history, the central location, and future potential to become a place open for use by the entire community. And that touches on a number of attributes that we want to exemplify in our design, to make sure it looks and feels like a key gateway building in Peterborough, to reflect the site history, to allow it to remain flexible for growth in the future, to ensure that through design it's inclusive and accessible, and to demonstrate and integrate sustainable features. Next slide. In terms of the program of spaces, the arenas is basically a twin pad. So there are 2 rinks with about 500 seats per rink. It has a walking track around 1 rink. There are 2 multi-purpose rooms, 1 concession for food, leased space, dryland training space, and as we mentioned, a new program in terms of the library. Phase 2, which we're making provision for, is the future aquatics and change rooms, which would be a 25-meter by 8-lane and leisure warm water tanks and spectator viewing. So they've been conceptually designed. Each program component will be designed to be accessible, comfortable, and easily connected to the common public spaces. Next slide. In terms of sustainability, we're striving for a robust, sustainable design that allows the new community complex to target ambitious reductions in both operational energy and embodied carbon. And those options include the following sustainability features: a highly insulated exterior, EV infrastructure to accommodate hybrid and electric vehicles, electric ice resurfacer, heat recovery systems on the air handling units, future renewable energy, which would mean photovoltaic array on the roof, and low impact development, which ties into the drought resistant planting and the management of stormwater on the site. Slide. I'm going to turn it over to Christina to walk you through the Morrow Park and the arena site plan.
Next slide. So in this bird's eye view of Morrow Park, you can see that the new arena complex is located at the corner of Park and Lansdowne Street. Next to the building is a large open green space, and a significant amount of the parkland has been preserved for flexible use and to accommodate both sport use and special events such as markets and exhibitions. Next slide. This slide shows the phase 1 site design in more detail. So to orientate everyone, Lansdowne Street runs along the site's north edge. The building, adjacent green space, and parking lot have all been located on the west side of the site, leaving the east side as the existing park with one ball diamond maintained. A central entry driveway divides the east and west site uses and aligns with a proposed new signalized intersection at Lansdowne Street and Almer Street. All the pink arrows shown document pedestrian access points, while the blue arrows document important vehicular access. So beginning at the site's northwest corner, we have a proposed new plaza space welcoming pedestrians connecting from west of Park Street. Those arriving to the building from this intersection can enter the building through the north entry. A new multi-use pedestrian and bike trail will run along the building's north edge. This multi-use trail is part of a separate Lansdowne Street road widening project by the city's transportation team, who we are closely coordinating with to ensure a unified public space is created for the surrounding community. East of the building is a large green plaza space, and this is a location for the future phase 2 pool and will serve as a flexible open park space until phase 2 construction. South of that green space is the building's main pickup and drop-off location, which is in close proximity to the building's main entry for those arriving to the arena complex by car. The entire phase 1 parking area has been consolidated to the south edge of the park, minimizing its visibility from Lansdowne Street. And we've had a traffic and parking study completed for this project, ensuring all required vehicular routes, traffic flows, and parking counts are accounted for. The south extent of the proposed site development, which is lined with that bottom row of parking you can see on the site plan, is about 55 feet from the existing site's south property line. And within that 55-foot setback, the south edge of the site is to remain as existing, with the Agricultural Society's sheds and surrounding driveway undisturbed. Exterior site lighting will be provided throughout the new site development. However, lighting studies will be completed to ensure there is no light trespass beyond the property limits. Next slide. So on this slide, we had the phase 2 site plan, and highlighted in blue is the proposed building footprint for the new aquatic center. which as mentioned earlier will include an 8-lane 25-meter competition pool, small leisure and therapy pool, aquatic change rooms, and spectator seating. With phase 2, we will enhance the surrounding green space with a rainwater harvesting garden and flexible plaza seating. Additional parking is provided for phase 2 along the south edge of the site, which displaces one of the agricultural sheds to the east side next to the remaining phase 2 parking. And as mentioned earlier, it's important to note that phase 2 has council approval. However, it does not yet have the required funding to proceed with design and construction. Next slide. So we'll now move to focus in on the building design. Next slide.
Just on a meeting location.
So beginning with the level 1 plan, to orientate everyone, north is pointing up and Lansdowne Street is aligned with the top edge of the building. At the top of the plan, we have a building entryway that will be connecting people arriving on foot or bike from the Park Street intersection to the arena complex. The dashed line is showing the roof overhang above, so this will be a nice covered and weather protected entry with adjacent bike parking. So once inside and moving towards the building's central lobby space, building users will immediately see into the new library branch, which is located to the right of that public corridor on the north side. This is a 5,000 square foot library that will be mostly open space filled with collections and a variety of seating and gathering areas. South of the library is the building's main lobby space. In this lobby, we will have access to central washrooms, the building's reception desk, and a feature stair that connects you up to level 2. And next to the washrooms, which you can see are on the left side of that lobby space, are the entries to both the arenas. We have the North Arena at the top, the South Arena at the bottom, and 6 change rooms per arena for 12 total provided between. Moving back out to the lobby space, we have the remaining building admin program located behind the main reception desk. And lastly, the building's main entry at the south end of the corridor, connecting those arriving from the parking lot and main drop-off area. Next slide. So moving up to level 2, we have our lobby and warm viewing area next to the feature stair landing. North of the central lobby space is our concession space, which will be serving the arena spectators. Moving further north along the public corridor are centrally located washrooms and 2 multi-purpose rooms, one that is sized at 2,000 square feet and the other which is 1,000 square feet. And between these 2 spaces is a folding partition wall that will allow the 2 spaces to occasionally be used as one 3,000 square foot room. So moving back down, south of the atrium, which is identified by that number 4 on the screen, is a lease space, which is about 1,800 square feet. The exact tenant for this space is currently unknown, but I know the city is looking into that, and we'll see if we'll find a tenant before construction begins. Moving into the arenas, for the North Arena, we have seating for almost 500 spectators, as well as a 2-lane walking track around the arena perimeter. Glazing will be provided along the north exterior wall, allowing the exterior views to and from that walking track. Moving around the walking track to the left of the walking track and south of the exit stair on the left-hand side of the plan is an open space that will be used for dry land training. And then lastly, moving down, we had the South Arena that has an additional seating for approximately 500 spectators. Next slide. So here's a view showing what the arena complex begins to look like. The most prominent feature is the overhanging roof that helps to unify the building and the program pavilions underneath. This view is taken from the site's northwest corner at the Park and Lansdowne Street intersection. By breaking down the mass of the building into distinct program volumes, we feel that allows the arena to have a more civic presence that is supported by the exterior plaza spaces. It's important to note that the building color shown in this view is notional only. We will be investigating a variety of color options for the building as the design continues to develop. Next slide. So this view is taken from the building's northeast corner. The white pavilion closest to the viewpoint is the library space on level 1, with the multi-purpose rooms above. And the future phase 2 aquatics complex will be added to the east building facade, which is shown in this view on the left-hand side. And important to note that the new Lansdowne multi-use trail will run along this north elevation and connecting to the building's plaza spaces. Next slide. This view is taken from the building's southeast corner, showing the main entry to the building, connecting those arriving by car. Once again, this entryway is sheltered by the roof above, creating a weather-protected entry with covered bike parking. The large blue pavilion you see is the South Arena, while the white pavilion on the right has the admin program on level 1 and that lease space up above. Next slide. And this is the last view, which brings us into the building interior. Is a view in the level 2 central lobby space looking north at the concession space, with the north rank and running track on the left-hand side of the image. So as you can see, the building's exterior materiality wraps into the interior, expressing each program as a unique pavilion. The interior of the building will have a strong connectivity to the exterior with the skylights above and views to the surrounding park spaces. Next slide. I think we would be passing it back, Brendan, to you so we can begin the Q&A portion of the evening.
Thanks, Christina. Now we have an opportunity for questions. Just a reminder to please raise your hand if you'd like to share a comment or question, or you can type the question into the chat window. For anyone joining us by phone tonight, you can use *5 to raise your hand and also lower your hand, and *6 to mute and unmute. Please stay muted until you're invited to ask a question. And we'll ask that you limit your questions or comments to 2 minutes to allow others the opportunity to share questions as well. If you'd like, you can also submit a question through the online community engagement hub at connectptbo.ca/arena and aquatics complex, or you can call 705-742-7777 extension 2419 to submit a question outside of this meeting. Please keep any questions to the general project update. For any other questions or comments, you can use the online community engagement hub at connectptbo.ca. Thank you, and we'll just see if there's any questions that we can invite. Thank you. I'm seeing one hand raised from a phone participant if you'd like to unmute.
There's a question in the chat as well.
Okay.
Hello, my name is George Mitchell. I had been given some of your diagrams today by Jillian Barnes, and I'm most grateful to that. The question that I asked her at the time, and the question that I'd ask you good folks is, could you enlarge the footings of the building to have future growth above the building? Jillian seemed to think that that hadn't been considered, and I'm wondering, with all of your expertise there, if it could be considered. The reason why, and I had asked even the CEO of the library whether additional space in the community would be useful, and I believe Jen's answer was an unequivocal yes. Additional space would be useful, and the library would be more than happy to manage the space if it was made available.
So we have not been asked to design the building for expansion up. That would be very expensive on an arena because you have long span joists that would have to bear those loads. We have designed the building to expand outwards. That's where we would gain the space for the aquatic center and the support spaces and the additional public space that goes along with that. That's where the opportunity for expansion is being considered in the expansion to the east.
Thank you. One supplemental question, if I may. I was wondering whether there is the opportunity to have exterior washrooms that are available 24/7. As a person that struggles with homelessness, I and my peers are certainly in need of accessible washrooms year-round, and wondering whether there is any consideration as to how to do that in a way that is partnering with or some aspects of the accessibility being supported by the poor and the homeless themselves.
We'll take that into consideration, but we have yet to been asked to provide washrooms to the park, but we could certainly note that down.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have some questions on the chat that I might want to address here. I'm wondering how many washrooms and change rooms are gender neutral, and if they are more than family change rooms. I'm not sure what that means. The change rooms are geared towards team use. The washrooms are a combination of specific gender specific and total unisex washrooms. They both have toilets and sinks together in separate rooms. We have a combination. Is there a guarantee from the city that the parking lot won't continue to expand into the remaining green space baseball diamond? It doesn't look like enough parking for such a large facility. The parking has been reviewed by the city and has been designed with the help of a parking consultant. So we're confident that we have for the use and the precedent studies that we've done, we have enough parking for phase 1, and we have planned for phase 2 through expansion to the east. Next one. It all looks great at this point. There are 2 scheduled rinks in the first phase of the development. Is there room or plans for other rinks to be built on later on with the lots of Northcrest? No, not on this site. I think the city is looking at a broader strategy for total rink replacement. But I think with the 2 rinks that they have now, it meets their needs, their immediate needs, but we do not have plans to expand further on this site. In this presentation, it highlights that citizens' priorities are a greener, sustainable approach and preserving green space. But when the project is complete, more than half of the site will be paved over. Has the city considered raised parking or reducing the amount of parking and emphasis transit? Actually, the parking that we are providing, Christina, you can chime in here, is towards the conservative end. We are not providing more parking than we absolutely need. And
yep, that's correct. And I think it's difficult. It's always difficult for arenas to rely on transit the way that you can for a pool program. So the transit parking report we have done always takes into account the programmatic use. And when you have a pool where someone can easily jump on a bus with a backpack to go to, you can take into consideration transit a little bit more than an arena with the hockey equipment that comes with it.
And certainly this site being close to public transit and close to, some pedestrian networks allows for access to the library or any of the multi-purpose rooms or the track without the use of a car. So the site does help us in that respect. will the two buildings that are there now remain, and how close will the new complex be to those buildings? I presume this is referring to the two barns. I would think that's what they're referring to. Carolyn, and do you want to say something more in your chat? Christina, you could guesstimate how far the buildings are from the barns. It's basically the width of the parking lot.
Yeah, we've kind of left this 55-foot setback from the south edge of the property line to where we're have the south edge of our parking, so that the sheds can remain, as well as the full driveway access required for them. So in phase one, the sheds are very much remaining as existing. And then in phase two, when we grow the parking to the south, we do show plans to relocate one of the agricultural sheds over to the east side of the site.
Okay. And then another landscape question here. Is there a landscape design plan for the area along Park Street? How much traffic is expected to flow onto Park Street? The landscape design plan, answer that partly because part of the landscape along Lansdowne is the multi-use trail, which is being done under a separate contract. And then beyond that, to the south of that, is the plaza landscape that we are working on. The two will mesh together. How much traffic is expected to flow onto Park Street? Actually, you can answer that.
Yeah, I can jump in maybe. I'll put my camera on so people can see me. So the entry at Lansdowne Almer's really the main entry for all flows into the parking lot, and the access point, especially one that's on Park Street, are more secondary access points. One of them's really only a right in, right out to try and limit how much is coming in, and it's really more of an exit. So I don't have the exact flow data, but we do have a transit report that's looking at the impact on traffic flows this facility has and making sure we're accommodating appropriately.
Thanks, Christina. Thanks, Phil.
Well, there's some hands now. There's Viren.
Yep, it's Viren D'Souza here with the Peterborough Agriculture Society. I'd like to take the chance to thank the consultants for putting this together. Thanks to city staff as well for consulting with us on this, and thank you to all the city councilors for being here. I guess the one of the concerns I have is, as we look at this plan here in phase one and phase two, as it takes up the space that it does, is that it's taking up space as it's listed in the Moore Park Master Plan as being for exhibition use. That's the first thing that sticks out to me. The other point that I was looking at as well is that the horse tracks have been eliminated without any replacement on the other side. To us, that's concerning in that it's minimizing our uses and ability to conduct activities here at Moore Park. It's good to see that those barns the two barns remain, but as it stands right now, we're sacrificing space to conduct any sort of, maybe not any sort of activity, but a lot of activities are being restricted here with this design, and I'm not really sure what the remedy is for this.
I'm going to have to pass that on to Sheldon or
Yeah,
city staff.
if I could just to respond to Viren, as certainly there have been ongoing discussions with the Peterborough Agricultural Society that city staff are aware of the concerns. We certainly will be, council will be considering those concerns as well as we move through the project. And I know we'll be meeting further with the Agricultural Society to discuss some of those concerns in the May time period as we move towards this project. So I wouldn't have any details for Varen and the rest of the board, but I know that city staff and council are certainly aware and appreciate the impacts on the agricultural society.
Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, Phil.
Welcome.
Thank you. We have another question in the chat.
Oh, chat. Let me see. Back between hands and chat here. Oh, this is a new one here. Is this a public community facility? Can I walk in and use the walking track, and will there be free and family skate times? Definitely it is a public community facility. I'll have to pass it on to Jillian or Sheldon to answer the question about access and free and family skate times. Sheldon,
I can assist with that one,
or Sue.
Phil.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Sure, I can assist with that one. Yes, we are planning for city programming to be in that facility. It will be an open facility, just like our other arena facilities currently are. And the public will be able to come in and use the walking track at their leisure. It will be accessible at the hours that the arena is open. The on ice, excuse me, programming is going to be continue with city programming. We're always working to expand that. That includes public skates, family skates, and other city-run programs. And those fees are approved annually by council through the budget process. So that there are certainly different activities that opportunities that do happen that happened prior to the pandemic, where there were sponsored skates and actual free of charge activities that were able to happen. So we're hoping to return to that once again. Thank you.
Thanks. Vren, your hand is still up. Do you have another question, or is that from the last question?
Nope, sorry, that's a mistake.
Thanks.
Are the EVs level 2 chargers? That's a good question. I'm not sure. Do we know that yet, Christina? Are they level 2 chargers?
Well, what's going in at phase 1 of the building is really infrastructure only for the EV. So all the conduit and making them ready to be converted to EV charging stations in the future.
Any hands? See any hands?
Another call for questions, and you can either raise your hand using the Teams app, or for call-in participants, it's *5 to raise and lower your hand.
Oh, there's a hand over here.
There's a hand from a call-in participant.
Yeah.
Unmute.
I don't have a name, so
It's *6 to unmute.
Yeah.
Hello, it's George Mitchell.
Hi, George.
Hello, George.
Hi. I guess my question is more to Sheldon. To what degree has the project had any input from the poor and the homeless in the community? And to that extent, what I'm getting at is this is the first opportunity I've had any access to a lot of City Hall stuff, and it's just been virtually impossible during the pandemic for us poor and homeless that have no internet, no phone, and everything else. So a lot of other people have come together to make this possible for me, but I'm going, this seems very late. So I'm just asking to what degree has that been facilitated other than trying to get through the process electronically, which most of us can't?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I don't know that I have a specific answer for you. That's certainly during the COVID, we've certainly been challenged to make sure we're providing an accessible format as best we can. There was a drop-in opportunity earlier today, since it's only been a number of weeks since we've been allowed to have in-person meetings. So we have endeavored to do the best we can during the pandemic. Certainly, certainly we're still inviting comments over the next period of time. And if you're not able to respond electronically, I know that Brendan had shared phone information to be able to provide comments directly to city staff. So that opportunity does remain as well. So thanks for the question.
If that phone information could be repeated at the end, I had difficulty logging in at the beginning, so I may have missed it. Thank you.
We have a a chat question here. I'm concerned about the significant amount of space allocated to parking. Can you consider a multi-level parking structure? Unfortunately, multi-level, whether you're going up or down, is very expensive, and would effectively take up a similar amount of space in terms of if you're going up. If you're going down, you would have the drive entries. But it's not within our budget to be able to afford multi-level going down. There's a large loss of green space. A parking garage would allow. Oops, there's not one here. Would allow more green space. True, though we've created. We've tried to condense the parking in as tight an area as possible and leave more than half of the Morrow Park available. If you have any, okay, then will there be perimeter fencing? Not on the south, not on the north and the west and the east side. We're not touching the south side, I don't think, right, Christina?
No, we're looking at a fence on the east side of the entry driveway for the new ball diamond, or sorry,
that's right.
for the existing ball diamond to have a dividing fence there. In terms of the north edge of Lansdowne Street, that's really part of a separate Lansdowne Street road widening project where they're looking at the proper kind of landscape boundary, the multi-use trail, and what the edge condition is for Lansdowne Street along that edge. So I'm not aware of it having a fence, but that might be something that gets incorporated in the future.
Oh, here's one here. Is the building going to be white? Being along a busy road that creates a lot of dust and dirt would show a lot of the dirt. Good point. I mean, as we said in the discussion, the presentation, the colors are notional. We're really just trying to show through the use of the white and the blue that, the pavilions that support the roof are one color and the arena that sits under the roof is another color. That's basically what we're at. And, your point about whether it should be white or off-white or whatever is a good one, because it is a busy road. A hockey training facility is being built in Port Hope by Justin Williams, and it is targeting Peterborough as a source of clients. Does the project anticipate any impacts on its rentals, given that it will be open prior to the twin pad? That's more of a question for Sue, Jillian, or Sheldon.
I can assist here. Let me just turn my camera on just 1 second. We have, throughout our arena needs assessment process, we did a really deep dive on what the demand is, and even 30 years out. So we included all of the county facilities through that process. We during this whole planning, we did not want to jeopardize anyone's business with what we would, when we were looking to explore how many pads we should have at what level of population we were at. So it's, as I think there was another mention earlier, the question that we need more than just really we're replacing the single pad at Northcrest, and then we are adding one additional pad. So the concern is we won't have enough. And we know that the pressure is on to have more facilities. And fortunately, some of the county facilities are close by. When you look at proximity of our city and county and different township areas, it's a closer proximity than in the larger cities where some of the arenas are. So we have not directly looked into that specific facility that you're mentioning, Varen, but we feel that by putting in one pad additional at this time, we are still well short of meeting the demand that has been raised by our organizations. Thank you.
Okay, there's two more questions here. Will you prioritize landscaping on Lansdowne? It is not a beautiful street as is and could use some help. Agreed. We are, I think we're contributing through the building and the canopy and the treatment, the hardscaping and softscaping up to the multi-use trail. So I would think the combination of the buildings plaza plus the multi-use trail will greatly improve the experience along Lansdowne. What is the city's timeline for addressing traffic issues on Lansdowne associated with the increased traffic to this area? Surrounding neighborhoods already have a lot of cut-through traffic due to congestion. Can't answer that one specifically. I might have to ask Sheldon to respond to it.
Yeah, I think that's thanks, Phil. I think that's kind of beyond the project at this point. The city does have a recently adopted master transportation plan that council approved just simply last month. Actually, that does have a number of items included in that to address traffic at a greater level. And the Lansdowne West widening project will occur as well in the next couple of years in association with this project to try to address traffic in the close proximity as well. So there are a number of initiatives going on beyond this project to try to address traffic. And certainly if someone had wanted more information about that, I could put the person in touch with the right persons in the traffic division at the city. Thanks.
Could you also maybe direct an answer to the second question here? How is the facility and the design consistent with the conditions outlined in the Morrow Trust and subsequent agreements? Will the design support the promotion of the agricultural industry?
I think that's answered in a couple of ways. Certainly all the decisions that have been made on the use of Morrow Park are in alignment and conformity with the agreements that the city signed off on for the use of Morrow Park. The design is intended that there's an expectation of council that the history on the site, including the extensive agricultural history, will be recognized in some way, either through the historical information on the site or public art. Those discussions are ongoing and will form part of the project, and the details will be considered as we go along.
Not seeing any other questions, Phil, so we'll jump to the staying in touch.
Okay, you can take that one.
Will do.
Thank you.
So thank you everyone for participating today. The comments that were shared today will be considered by the project team as it prepares the site plan information for council's consideration. If you weren't able to share your questions or comments today, you can use the online questions tool on the project page at connectptbo.ca/arena and aquatics complex, or call 705-742-7777 extension 2419. The project information, including the renderings and past reports on the project, are posted on the city's online community engagement hub, or you can call the phone number just provided to leave a message if you would like some more information on the project. And today's presentation that was recorded will be posted on the project page by tomorrow afternoon. Thank you everyone again for attending.
Thank you.